come with horn and drum. Taroon, naroon, naroon, naram.
All right, let's go. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, here we go. Let's continue with the road to Isengard. We're going to be rousing some Ents. So campaign mode, we're going to shuffle in Saruman's voice into the encounter deck. And then we're going to remove those burdens that we've been removing for the previous 2 quests. So Saruman's voice is already in there. And I have some boons and burdens. So Overcome by Grief is in the staging area. And then Ill Fate is once again shuffled into the encounter deck. These 3 boons are mine. You've seen me talk about them in the previous videos, so you can pause and read here if you want. All right, let's take a look at my deck. All right, so here is my deck. Boy, I gotta tell you, after the struggles I had with the Helm's Deep deck, it was nice to have a deck that just came together very easily. There's actually a whole bunch of decks out there using this hero lineup. I copied from this one, Treebeard, Pippin, Merry. Of course, that's very thematic, and a lot of people have used this hero lineup to make an Ent deck where you basically just put every Ent card that the game has in a single deck. Ents only fall in tactics and lore, unless you're running neutral for Treebeard. But I have Treebeard Hero, who can take damage to boost his willpower or attack. Pippin's boosting engagements and draws you a card when you engage an enemy of a higher threat than yours. And Merry will be attacking for 2 and can ready someone who participated in an attack with him if it kills an enemy. And then, of course, we have to run Aragorn. He's not really thematic. He only shows up after the battle in the novel, but I have to include him, so he's here. For attachments, we got the Ent Draft to give an Ent +2 hit points. A good meal, yeah, definitely thematic. They were eating that good meal while they were sitting on the ruins of Isengard waiting for everyone to show up. Self-preservation does some healing, very important. And then the Song of Battle is actually really great. It gives me some resource smoothing because I don't have a lot of things to spend Aragorn's resources on unless I want to ready somebody using his ability. And the flavor text on the Song of Battle is the song the Ents sing as they're marching. So I love that. And then the Woodman's Clearing is threat reduction, and it also, I feel like, is thematically pretty good because it looks like the eaves of Fangorn that were being destroyed by the orcs and all the trees being chopped down. Boomed and Trumpeted is awesome. It gives me some readying and attack boost. Lots of card draw. Deep Knowledge is pretty thematic for once. Single copy of Don't Be Hasty. It's actually not bad in this quest where you're trying to do some exact questing. Being able to pull a character out of the quest and then dropping your willpower might be useful when you're trying to quest exactly for the amount of threat in the staging area, which I will be explaining why. Entmoot is there for card draw, of course. We're going to call this Hobbit Intuition. So if I want to play it, I get to draw 2 cards and give my heroes +2 willpower. And then, of course, probably the most thematic card is the Dam Burst, which will give me some readying. But you have to control an Ent and a Hobbit. This quest is definitely one where you need to have a plan. My plan is to rouse 2 Ents of Fangorn on stage 1. Then on stage 2, I'm going to make an unstoppable Durndingle warrior by using Ent Draft and hopefully self-preservation to keep him healed. I am going to not be hasty and build up an Ent army because once I advance to stage 3, I am not going to want to play hardly any cards, and I'm definitely not going to do any card draw. So I got to be all prepared by the time I reach stage 3. That is the plan. All right, this is the deck. But this is it's fun. It's very thematic and very enjoyable. All right, let's go back to the table. A very strange stage 1. So rouse the Ents. We're going to set some cards aside, and then we're going to add each copy of the Ent of Fangorn to the staging area. Give the encounter deck a shuffle. Okay, nothing weird so far. So we're going to set these 5 cards aside out of play. All right, 1B, here we go. We cannot draw cards or gain resources. We do not commit characters to the quests or reveal encounter cards during the quest phase. So far, so fun. All right, forced. At the end of the round, place 1 resource here. Then the players may advance to stage 2. If we do, we shuffle the discard pile into the encounter deck and we reveal 1 card for every resource here. Then remove each Ent objective from the staging area. Well, what are we doing here? let's take a look at what the Ent of Fangorn says. He's a very powerful ally, and then while Ent of Fangorn is in the staging area, it gains quest action, exhaust a hero you control, and discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that hero's willpower is greater than the discarded card's threat, place 1 resource here. Then, if there are 3 resources here, discard them and take control of the Ent of Fangorn. So that's a pretty cool mechanic. We're going to be exhausting our heroes and hopefully collecting some Ents. I'm going to try to get 2 of these guys. There isn't much threat on most of the encounter cards, so the odds are pretty good that you will place a resource by exhausting someone with 2 willpower. So hopefully I can get 3 resources on 2 of these Ents, and we will collect them. But first, we need to draw our opening hand, but then we can't play any cards because we don't have any resources, and we don't draw cards, and yeah, we just kind of sit here and try to collect Ents. All right, we got Self-Preservation, Beach Bone, the Woodman's Clearing, card draw, Song of Battle. Okay, I like seeing my single copy of Song of Battle. That might help pay for things, and lots of card draw. I did get Self-Preservation, and we have Old Bogey Stories. So I think that's fine. That's a fine opening hand. It's not as great as I would like, but it's also not terrible. We're going to be sitting here on this first stage for a while, so I have plenty of time to build up. Okay, so we go into turn 1. We can't draw cards. We can't gain resources. We're just going to try to rouse some Ents. So I'm going to start off by exhausting Mary, 2 willpower against an X threat. So when it's discarded, X is 0. It would have been 1 if you even counted the value. So that worked. We got 1 resource. Okay, and we get another one with Pippin. Okay, so the first 2 cards, we've had a success. Okay, so Treebeard can take damage to increase his willpower. And I can do this because we're in the quest phase. So I'm going to take a quest action and place 2 damage on Treebeard, increasing his willpower to 4, and we get, yes! Oh, man, that's awesome. All right, cool. So that was a 3-threat enemy, but Treebeard had a willpower of 4, so we actually collect 1 of the Ents of Fangorn with our first 3 characters. That's awesome. Well, let's keep going. All right, Aragorn is going to exhaust for 2 willpower. All right, Treachery with no threat. So we place another one. So that's 4 successes out of 4 exhausted heroes. So pretty happy with that. That usually doesn't happen. And end of the round, we're going to place a resource on that quest stage. We raise our threat because we are going into the next round. And let's do it again. Marry for 2 against a Treachery. That's a success. Okay, 5 out of 5. Pippin for 2, and we get a 2-threat location, so he did not beat the threat, so that was a fail. And Treebeard, I think between 2 and 2 of the next 2 characters, I'm going to hit one of these, so I'm not going to boost his willpower. Yeah, okay, we got it. So another Treachery. There we go. I'd have to say it's pretty darn consistent where I collect 2 Ents in 2 rounds. Normally, I don't have any problem. So, okay, we have 2 Ents of Fangorn. We have 2 resource tokens on stage 1B, and I am going to choose now to go into the next stage. So since I'm advancing, I'm going to shuffle the discard pile into the encounter deck, and then I'm going to reveal 2 cards, and then we're going to not be hasty, and we are going to build, and then destroy. I need to find a Durndingle Warrior. It's really not a problem with all the card draw, especially Entmoot, and then put a couple attachments on him so I can defend against Saruman. And then, some Welling Hall Preservers to heal this damage off a Treebeard would be great. Okay, card number 1, we get the Underground Armory. It's a 4/3, and this is why this quest is so hard. All of these locations have effects like this. While this is in the staging area, it gains Forced. After an enemy engages a player, deal it a shadow card, and then it has a wizardry effect that triggers when we hit a card like this, our second card, the Machines of Isengard. When revealed, trigger the wizardry effect on the active location. If there is no wizardry effect triggered this way, it's going to surge, and it surges into another Underground Armory. So that means if we engage an enemy right now, we have to deal it 2 shadow cards, and then we deal it a 3rd shadow card when it actually attacks us. All right, 2A. Breaking Isengard. We got the awesome flavor text there. Then when revealed, we're going to make the Gates of Isengard the active, and we're going to add Saruman and Orthanc to the staging area. All right, let's take a look at Saruman. So he's a 50 engagement, 4/6, 4/6. Istari Traitor, indestructible, immune, and cannot leave the staging area. And then forced, when Saruman is dealt a shadow card that has a wizardry effect, we're going to trigger that wizardry effect. Okay, that's pretty nasty. That's 4 threat that'll stay in the staging area. We also have Orthanc. It's a 2/1. It's immune. And while it's in the staging area, it gains forced. After the player's quest successfully, we're going to look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, reveal 1, and discard the other 2. So questing successfully really punishes us. Okay, our active location is the Gates of Isengard. It takes 1 progress to go through the gate. It's immune, and when it's explored, we're going to search the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy and put it in play engaged with us. All right, let's take a look at 2B. No progress needed. We cannot travel to Orthanc. Forced. After a non-unique location is explored, place 1 damage here. If there is 5 damage tokens here, advance to 3A, and then quest action, we can exhaust an Ent of Fangorn to place 2 progress on a non-unique location. That's why I want 2 of these guys, because 2 of them can clear any location in this deck. All right, let's collect resources finally. Let's draw our first card. It is Ent Draft. That's awesome. Okay, and let's start rousing some Ents. I'm going to start out by playing Daron's Runes, and we're going to draw 2 cards, then we have to discard 1. Good, there's a Welling Hall Preserver, and an Ent wandered in. All right, I will get rid of Hotam Bombadil. I know I'm not going to need it. The treacheries are not worth using that for my one and done in the campaign. All right, what do I want to do here? So we have the Woodman's Clearing, which does not need to go on the active location. It can go on any location. So let's play that on one of these armories. And when it's explored, we get to reduce our threat by 3, and it's free. You still need to have a sphere match to play a 0-cost card, though. I still had to have access to lore. I'm tempted to put the Song of Battle on Aragorn so he can help pay for tactics cards, but I don't have a lot of tactics cards right now, so that seems kind of like a waste. I'd rather use his resources to ready. I have these 2 nice attachments that I want to eventually get on a Durndingle, and I have a Welling Hall Preserver that's going to help me heal Treebeard. So I'm not going to spend any of my lore resources so I can afford the 3-cost Welling Hall Preserver. We're going to send the 2 Ents up against this location. I exhaust them in the quest phase to place 2 progress each. That will clear the armory, dropping my threat by 3 thanks to the clearing, and then 1 damage goes on the quest stage, 4 to go. All right, so now the big trick of the quest, I don't want to quest successfully. I really don't. I either want to quest even or 1 under. Then I don't have to get another encounter card. I already have a location in staging, so I don't need to find another one. So let's send 2 less than the threat, and we reveal a 2-threat warg. Okay, so we are currently under questing by 4. So if I did nothing, I'd have to raise my threat by 4. That's a lot. I can do 2 damage to Treebeard and increase his willpower by 2. So there we go. And now we are under questing by 2. I'll just raise my threat by 2. We did not quest successfully, so I do not need to trigger Orthanc and look at the top 3 cards. All right, now because of Pippin, that enemy's engagement cost is boosted by 2 because I control 2 hobbits, so I don't need to engage that. Very successful first round. Let's go into the next round. Okay, the card we get is, all right, it's the Durndingle Warrior. I have 3 copies. I also had 3 copies of Entmoot. So, I mean, the odds are pretty good you're going to find this guy. So he's going to come in exhausted. He's an amazing defender. And we're going to spend 3 of our lore resources to play the Welling Hall Preserver, and then 1 lore resource to put Ent Draft on the Durndingle. So now the Durndingle has +2 hit points, and then the Welling Hall Preserver quests for 3, and then when it readies, I can heal a damage on an Ent character. So absolutely amazing. It's healing with quest power. I love it. So both of these Ents are exhausted. They're not very hasty. And we will go now into the quest phase, and I can once again exhaust my 2 Ents of Fangorn and clear a location in staging. So we're going to get rid of this other underground armory, placing a 2nd damage on the quest stage and also removing a lot of threat. So we are quickly gaining ground. That's why I don't think revealing 2 cards is that bad, especially with a low threat deck like this. And you have those Ents to help you. You can pretty much survive whatever 2 cards you're going to reveal. All right, I'm going to send 8 on the quest, And we reveal the Ring Wall of Isengard is a 2/2, and while it's in the staging area, after any damage is healed, we have to discard a card from our hand. So unfortunately, I forgot to move my marker, so I thought I was questing for 10. So I just left it as is, but I actually should have raised my threat by 2, so I didn't quest successfully. I'm going to catch that next round when I realize my 4 heroes can only quest for 8, and I remembered that's all I sent on the quest phase this round. So I'm going to get it right. Okay, we're engaging the warg. I am going to ready Aragorn using his ability. The shadow says I need to discard an attachment. So we will get rid of this Lembus. So there we go, no problem. Aragorn's going to take a damage. No one else is ready. And we will go into the next round. This quest is not one of my favorites. There are so many triggers. Like that card up in the staging area says when I heal somebody, I need to discard a card. And then the warg says if he's dealt a shadow card with a wizarding effect, I need to either have an additional attack or discard a card. There's just so much to keep track of with these locations constantly coming in and out of the staging area, changing the rules of the quest, trying to quest unsuccessfully or match it. It's a lot. It's a brain burner. All right, I am going to play Daeron's Runes, and the 2 cards we get are Skinbark and another Self-Preservation. Okay, I am going to get rid of Skinbark. He's good, but I would rather have Beachbone since he can quest, and I highly doubt I'm going to be able to get in 2 Ents that both cost 3. I'm actually looking for the Booming Ent, so I'm starting to consider using old bogey stories to shuffle this hand away and try to find Booming Ent or an Entmoot. My goodness, these Ents are not being hasty at all. I need to find Booming Ent, and more Ent drafts would be amazing. All right, let's go questing. Now the Welling Hall Preserver can quest for 3. I had chose not to trigger its response when it readied to heal Treebeard because I did not want to discard a card thanks to that location up in staging. And right here, I'm looking at my heroes and I realize they quest for 8. My marker's at 10, and I know I didn't send anyone else on the quest last round. So I was replaying in my mind exactly what happened during the last quest phase, and I realized, okay, my threat should be 2 higher. So I do get that right. And then we're going to commit characters on the quests for this round. And then I have more brain burning as I'm trying to figure this out. So I don't know if I want to advance through the active location. I can use one of the Ents of Fangorn to clear that ring wall, so I can get rid of that. So that's going to remove threat, and I can choose to do that after I've decided if I quested successfully or not. It's a lot. It's a lot of decisions to make. I've decided to send the Welling Hall Preserver, Aragorn, and Pippin. So that'll be a total of 7. And we are currently up against 8. So I'm underquesting by 1, but I can get rid of that location in staging. So let's see what we reveal. Okay, we get another location, which I'm happy to see. It's a steaming vent, and it has 4 progress, and while it's in the staging area, we deal a damage to a questing character when we commit characters to the quest. Okay, actually, I feel like I did pretty good here. So I am going to exhaust both of the Ents of Fangorn, and we're going to clear that steaming vent. So each of them are going to place 2 progress on it. I'm doing this in the action window after you reveal cards. So now 3 threat and staging have gone away. We've added another damage to the quest card, and we have underquested by 1. So we did not quest successfully. We have to raise our threat by 1, but that means we don't need to trigger what Orthanc says. And it says if you quest successfully, look at the top 3 cards and reveal 1. So, okay, we're good there. So let's go into combat. I have not quested successfully yet this game. Durndingle's going to defend. He handles this attack, no problem, but there is a wizardry effect. So that means the warg either attacks again or I discard a random card. Okay, I'm going to put the damage on the Durndingle before I forget, and let's just discard a random card. I try to avoid extra attacks if possible. We get rid of one of our self-preservations. Okay, that's all right. I have 2. So I can swing back with Treebeard and Mary and kill this, I think it's the Wolf of Isengard, not a warg. Okay, so far so good. I mean, you really want to try not to quest successfully if at all possible. Now that ring wall is still up in staging, so I cannot trigger any healing unless I want to lose a card, and I do not want to accidentally lose my second copy of Self-Preservation, so I am not going to heal. And then the card we draw is Quick Beam. Okay, not really what I'm looking for. I want an Entmoot or a Booming Ent. All right, let's spend 3 lore resources. We're going to attach Self-Preservation to the Dirndingle Warrior so I can exhaust it and heal 2 damage on him. And that's going to be extremely helpful. So he now has 2 extra hit points and can heal 2 every round. So I've made my unstoppable Dirndingle. That was important. Now I just got to build up more of an Ent army. So I have 5 cards, so I can't trigger Old Bogey Stories at this time. You got to have at least 6 cards. I could put in the Song of Battle and then Beachbone, but I want to save Aragorn's resources. Okay, let's finally get rid of that ring wall. So I'm going to exhaust one of the Ents of Fangorn, place 2 progress on it. That places a damage on the quest stage, and we get rid of that 2 threat. I'm okay questing successfully this round because I have the Dirndingle powered up. I have no enemy engaged with me. So we are currently making 1 progress, and we get, oh boy, Saruman's Voice. Okay, Doomed 2. And basically, it shuts down a hero. You remove a hero from the quest, you attach this to it, and then that hero can't do anything. If it does do anything, you have to get rid of a card. So we are just going to attach that to Pippin. For the rest of the game, Pippin is just taking a nap. He might as well be Spirit Pippin at this point. Okay, well, we underquest by 1, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't boost my willpower. So maybe I should have sent a little more willpower on the quest. And we are going to go into the next round. So I just raised my threat for underquesting, and I raised my threat at the end of the round. We're going to collect some resources. And now I actually want to quest successfully because I need to find another non-unique location to clear if I want to advance. But I can heal, finally. So let's heal the Dirndingle with his Self-Preservation. Let's heal Treebeard with the Welling Hall Preserver. And we draw another Woodsman's Clearing. That's not bad. My threat's getting pretty high. I have 6 cards, but I really like getting in a second Welling Hall Preserver. So let's put in a second Welling Hall Preserver, and let's put in Beachbone. He does some direct damage to enemies based on the amount of damage he has. So I'm going to spend all of my resources. We put in 2 more big Ents. And, I mean, if I don't get the Booming Ent, I can still do a lot of damage. So it's not super important to find it, but I really want to just to show you how crazy powerful the Booming Ent can be. All right, the Welling Hall Preserver and Aragorn for 5, Treebeard for 2, one of the Ents of Fangorn for 2. So we are sending 9, and we get another Steaming Event. Okay, well, I don't need to find another location now. I thought I might have to start digging. So we are currently questing even. Treebeard could take a damage, so we make 1 progress. I can increase Treebeard's willpower by 1. That's why I want to get some Ent draft on him, so he can take some extra damage here. So let's increase my willpower by 1. Let's actually quest successfully for the first time. So the way it works is before you place the progress, so you've done the math, you decide, did I quest successfully? Yes, I have quested successfully. We are going to grab this Orc because I actually want to start damaging all my Ents. I'm going to assume that I'm going to get a Booming Ent in play, and he does better when everybody's ticked off from being shot by arrows. So I'm going to grab this Orc with archery, and then our 1 progress clears the gates of Isengard, and when we clear the gates of Isengard, we need to search the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy. I'm going to grab this other Orc that has archery, and that one gets put in play engaged with us. Normally it would trigger Pippin, but if I trigger Pippin's response and draw a card, I then need to discard a card thanks to Saruman's Voice. So I'm not going to do that. We are going to travel to the Steaming Vent, getting that out of the staging area so I don't need to worry about its effect. See what I mean? Just a million triggers. Oh, and I missed one. I was supposed to reveal that Orc. So I should have discarded a random card from my hand. None of my cards in hand are really that important, so it's okay if I would have lost one. But yeah, I forgot. Okay, let's go into combat. I hope I don't miss many more triggers. This quest is just pretty crazy. I dealt out the archery to the Welling Hall Preservers. We're going to defend with the Dirndingle. He's going to take 1 damage. There was no shadow, so he has 1 damage on him. I'm going to exhaust Self-Preservation and heal that damage right back off. One of my Ents of Fangorn can defend here. There is a shadow. Attacking me gets +1 if it destroys a character. Okay, it does not. I actually don't take any damage with a +1 because he's defending for 3 and the orc was attacking for 2. I'm going to spend 2 of Aragorn's resources and I'm going to ready... I only can ready a hero. I guess I'll ready Treebeard. And then Treebeard and Merry can attack together and kill one of these orcs. So let's kill that one that attacks for a little more. Because Merry participated in an attack that destroyed an enemy, he can ready another character that was also in that attack. And that means Treebeard can do 1 of the 2 damage to the remaining orc. If Pippin wasn't resting, he could have joined in with his 1 attack and killed this guy. But Pippin is useless. Fool of a duke. Okay, next round. We need to clear 1 non-unique location to advance to the final stage. Everyone's got their resources, and there we go. Entmoot. All right, cool. Let's play it. You have to control an Ent, and then you get to search your top 5 cards for any Ent cards and add all the Ent cards to your hand. And we get Leaflock, or Leah Flock, as I like to call her, a Booming Ent, and Beachbone. All right, we did get Booming Ent. So the Booming Ent is the card I was hoping to find eventually with this. So with 3 copies of Booming Ent and 3 copies of Entmoot, the odds were pretty good. I mean, Entmoot has the Ent trait, so you can Entmoot into an Entmoot. And yeah, you can really find a lot of cards all of a sudden. All right, so first things first, Woodman's Clearing going on the active location. And then I am going to play the Song of Battle. I'm going to put that on Aragorn. So he now has the Tactics resource icon. And Merry has 1 resource. And Aragorn has 1 resource. So I can put in this Booming Ent. I guess if I had remembered that trigger and lost my Song of Battle, I think I would have just stalled for 1 round so I could get the Booming Ent in before I advanced to the final stage. So, like I said, I don't think losing a card would have really affected anything other than maybe stalling me for a round if it was the Song of Battle that I lost. All right, Quick Beam is also going to come in. You can damage him, and he comes in ready. So the Booming Ent's exhausted, Quick Beam is ready, and if I advance this round, I am okay with that. So let's go questing. So I don't need to quest successfully to advance. I can use both of the Ents of Fangorn to clear the active location. So let's send the 2 Welling Hall Preservers and Treebeard. So I'm questing for 8, and I'm currently against 6. I kind of hope I reveal a little bit of threat here so I don't make any progress. Oh, good. I get a Steaming Vent. So that's 3 threat. So I'm actually under questing by 1. Which is perfect. Okay, great. Good. I was hoping I would reveal at least 2 threat. So now I can exhaust both Ents of Fangorn, each of them placing 2 progress on the active location. That's going to clear the active location, which is the 5th non-unique location. When that is explored, I will get to drop my threat by 3 thanks to the Woodman's Clearing. So very good. And then we will advance to the final stage. Oh, let's not forget to raise my threat by 1 for underquesting. Okay. The final stage is the Voice of Saruman. We are going to draw 6 cards and then reduce our hand down to 6 cards total. And then we're going to attach the staff to Saruman. Let's look at the staff because it affects what cards I want to keep. So Saruman's staff, it's an artifact and a staff. And an item. Forced. After a player draws any number of cards, Saruman attacks that player. Deal and resolve 2 shadow cards for this attack, then remove 1 damage from Saruman. While Saruman has any hit points remaining, the players cannot win the game. So this triggers even when you draw your cards at the beginning of a turn. So this gets attached to him after I draw the 6 cards from the quest effect. But from this point on, anytime I draw cards, I'm going to get attacked by Saruman, who attacks for 6 with 2 shadow cards. So that's why you want to make sure you're ready to go before you get to this stage. You do not want to have to be digging for anything. Okay, so like I said, the staff gets attached after I do this. It just makes more sense to explain why I'm keeping certain cards and why I'm not. Okay, so any cards that are card draw, I get rid of. So those 2, goodbye. And then Don't Be Hasty is really good for the first quest stage where I'm trying to quest for exact amounts. I really like seeing those 2 boomed and trumpeted. Okay, well, I'm down to 6. So these are the 6 cards, and I'm hoping I don't have to play many of them. The goal is to try to keep as many cards in hand as possible because we need to make 15 progress. While Orthanc is the active location, Saruman is considered to be engaged with the first player. Forced, when Orthanc is explored, cancel any progress placed on the quest this phase and return Orthanc to the staging area. And here's the big one. If a player has 0 cards in his hand, he is eliminated from the game. If the players defeat the stage, they win. So don't bring Iristor on this quest. Yeah, so I want to keep as many cards in hand as possible because as you've seen, there's lots of cards that make me discard cards from my hand. So keeping as many as I can is really great. All right, let's travel to the steaming vent so I don't need to worry about its when it's in the staging area effect. Let's take an archery on the booming Ent. So we have a lot of damaged Ents, not as many as I would like though. And then the Durndingle's going to defend. No shadow, so the Durndingle does not take a damage. Mary can do the final point of attack to kill the orc, and we will go into the next round. My Welling Hall Preservers can do some healing, so I think I will heal Treebeard completely up. The Booming Ent gets +1 attack for each damaged Ent I have, so I'm trying to keep as many Ents damaged as possible. We draw a Drinking Song, which definitely is not good, and then because we drew a card, we're getting attacked. The Durndingle's going to defend. I'm going to damage him, so he's defending for 5. And then attacking enemy gets +1, and then no shadow. So remember, when Saruman attacks, if the shadow card has a wizarding effect, not the shadow itself, if the card has a wizarding effect, so in other words, if it's a location, I have to trigger that wizarding effect. So just one more thing I got to keep track of that's unique for this quest. So I'm actually looking at the card and not the shadow effect. Or I should say, I'm looking at the card in addition to the shadow effect. So it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. I keep saying it, but if you go to play this quest, I think you'll see what I mean. Okay, now I could play Boomed and Trumpeted from the damage that Durndingle took and ready him, but I don't think I can make 15 progress, and that's what you need to do. You need to make 15 progress on the quest before you travel to Orthanc. So what you're going to do is quest for a while to get up to 15. Every time you're questing successfully, you got to trigger Orthanc. The Durndingle used self-preservation to heal 2 damage. I'm going to quest for 18. We are currently up against 6. The active location has 4. And we reveal that ring wall of Isengard again, which is 2 threat. Now you can no longer use the Ent of Fangorn to place progress directly on locations. That was on the quest card on stage 2. So it's easy to forget that that's no longer happening. All right, I'm going to boost Treebeard's willpower by 4. Requested successfully. I'm going to choose out of the 3 cards. There's one that is basically Surge. Grima, he's bad because every time he attacks, he just gets shuffled back in. So I am going to take this Treachery that's going to deal 2 damage, 1 more than the number of players among questing characters. So I'm going to put a damage on each of the Ents of Fangorn. So the timing is weird. You determine if you quested successfully. So you do the math, and then you trigger Orthanc. So you could add more threat to the staging area after you've already done the math. So your math doesn't change. So in this case, I made 10 progress. If I had chose to add something that had threat on it, I would still make 10 progress. I know, confusing. Okay, the Welling Hall Preservers are going to heal 1 off of Treebeard and 1 off the Durndingle. We had no combat because we are not at Orthanc. And we draw, oh, nice, the Dam Bursts. Okay, that lets me ready all of my damaged Ents. Okay, that's excellent. That is really good. So, and, super thematic. Okay, again, I'm trying not to play cards. The Dam Bursts is definitely great. I think this turn I am going to play the Boomed and Trumpeted. So I drew that Dam Bursts. I drew that damn card. And then the Durndingle's going to defend. He's defending for 5 against 6. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. All right. And a location with no shadow, but it does have a wizardry effect. And it's each player discards a random card from their hand. Ugh. Okay. I hope it's not the Dam Bursts because I just really want to play it. It's a card you don't see get played very much, and it would actually be really good right here. We get rid of Leah Flock, as I like to call him. Okay, so we can now play Boomed and Trumpeted because I did take a damage from this attack. I could have played it when I damaged the Dirndingle from his own effect, but I knew I'd take at least 1 damage. Saruman attacks for 6, and I'm only defending for 5. So I'm going to ready the Dirndingle. He gets +3 attack for the rest of this phase, which doesn't matter. And then I'm going to heal him with his self-preservation. And then I'm going to commit characters on the quests. I'm sending all of my damaged Ents that have willpower, Aragorn, and Merry. I forget to put a token on Aragorn, but I definitely sent him on the quest. 5 progress needed, 2 on the active location. So we just got to make 7 progress. Okay, the card we reveal is Saruman's Orders. So we either have to return an engaged enemy to the staging area or it surges. So it surges. And we get a blast of sorcery again. So 2 damage. I'll just deal it to the Ents of Fangorn. No problem there. Okay. Before we trigger Orthanc, let's play the damn burst. So I'm going to spend 2 resources and I am going to ready all damaged Ents. You got to have a Hobbit and you got to have an Ent, and they both have to be unique. Okay. So now all of my damaged Ents are ready. I was worried that whatever card I go looking for might make me discard a card. And to be honest, I should have played that card after I committed characters to the quest. Your characters can be ready and still committed to the quest. So I took unnecessary risk there. I am making 12 progress. So the math says I'm going to have 15 on there. So I need to trigger Orthanc. I'm just counting my questing power, and this is when I realized Aragorn should have been exhausted because the math did not equal 18 unless he was exhausted. And I'm like, why isn't there a token on him? So there we go. I got that right. And now we trigger Orthanc. So we're going to look at the top 3 cards, and we need to reveal one. All right, we got this little wimpy orc again, a more stronger enemy. And then Poison Vapors is no good because it surges and it blinks text box. So we're going to choose this orc, and it's going to make me discard a card from my hand. This time I remember. So I have 5 cards in hand. The card I discard is a Wandering Ent. He wandered away. Okay, cool. I still have 4 cards in hand, so that's pretty good. We're going to clear the ring wall. We're going to place the 15 progress, and now we're going to travel to Orthanc. Because we have traveled to Orthanc, Saruman is considered to be engaged with us. Now, he only attacks with 1 shadow card now because the 2 shadow cards come from the effect on the staff. This is just a normal framework attack. Archery going on Beachbone, and that reminds me that the 2 Welling Hall Preservers should have actually done some healing. So I started to defend with the Dirndingle and then realized, okay, wait, he would have healed his 1 damage. I'll heal 1 off of Treebeard because these Welling Hall Preservers heal when they ready. And now he's going to take a damage for this attack. Attacking enemy gets +1. So Saruman attacked for 7. Dirndingle defended for 5, so he has 3 damage on him. Okay, I did that right. I could play my other copy of Boomed and Trumpeted to ready him, but I don't think I need to. One of the Welling Hall Preservers is going to defend this attack. It's a defense of 2 against an attack of 2, no shadow, so I take no damage. And then I'm going to spend Aragorn's 2 resources to ready Merry. And then Merry and the Booming Ent are going to attack this orc. The Booming Ent is 2 attack +9. Because +1 attack for every damaged Ent. So the Booming Ent is attacking for 11. We kill the orc, and then because Merry can ready a character that committed to an attack with him, he's going to ready the Booming Ent. And then the Booming Ent attacking for 11, plus all the other Ents, is a total of 29 attack. So 25 damage on Saruman. He has no hit points remaining. And that is how you win. It's kind of weird. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I won. So the trick is you place 15 progress, then you travel to Orthanc, and you kill Saruman on that same turn. Thematically, it makes sense you don't actually explore Orthanc because the heroes never go inside Orthanc. So Saruman is with 0 hit points, and the players cannot win unless he has any hit points remaining. So that's it. 15 progress, no more hit points. That's a victory. Okay. Yep, this was one of the quests I was really nervous to record. I hope I caught all the mistakes, at least, verbally I could explain them. I think it was about as clean of a game as I could have hoped for against this crazy, crazy quest. And I have 4 cards in hand. So if I did not have 4 cards, I would have went another round. Okay, resolution. If any player has 3 or less cards, we've earned Saruman's voice. If any player has more than 3 cards, we earn the Palantir. So the Palantir attaches to Aragorn. You exhaust Aragorn and the Palantir to discard the top card of the encounter deck. If Aragorn's willpower is greater than the threat of that card, you reveal one less encounter card during the quest phase. So it's dangerous for Aragorn to look into the Palantir. He can only do it once, and then it's removed from the campaign pool. But very cool effect. Hopefully I can pull that off at some point. Might use Shadows of the Past to make sure Aragorn's willpower is higher. All right, that's it for this one. Let's go see what's happening with Frodo and Sam. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.